Shalom from Israel to all of the Daystar viewers around the world. I'm Moshe Bar Tzvi, the producer and founder of Israel Now News. We at Israel Now News are dedicated to bringing you the full story and the truth about Israel from Israel. It's written in the Holy Bible when David said in Psalm 25:5, "Lead me in your truth and teach me, for you are the God of my salvation. For you I wait all the day long." And God says in Zechariah 8:16, "These are the things that you shall do. Speak out the truth to one another. Judge with truth and judgment to peace in your gates. And always search for the truth, and the truth shall set you free." John 8:31. I hope you enjoyed the program. God bless you from Jerusalem. Shalom, shalom.
Welcome to Israel Now News. I'm Yochanan El Rom.
And I'm Rebecca Rand.
In our top story, Israel's Shin Bet security service said at least 10 Israeli Arabs have signed on with the Islamic State terrorist group and are now fighting in Syria and Iraq. Dozens more are members of other jihadi groups involved in the Syrian conflict. While the number of Israeli Arabs making their way to the war zone is small, security experts admit there is growing interest in radical Islam among the Arab sector. The Mossad, military intelligence, and police have been cooperating with the Shin Bet in tracking Arab Israelis leaving to fight in Syria. Defense officials warn that jihadist groups may try to use Israeli Muslim recruits to gather information and carry out future attacks on Israel. And in a related development, Israel has officially banned the Islamic State and anyone associating with it. The move allows Israel to take legal action against any person raising funds or having contact with the terrorist organization. The decision was taken just a day after the terror group beheaded American journalist Steven Sotloff, who also held Israeli citizenship.
The U.S. State Department has denied claims that it is cooperating with Iran in the fight against Islamic State fighters in Syria and Iraq. Washington said it had no plans for any military coordination or information sharing with Tehran. A State Department spokesman did say the Obama administration was open to engaging with Iran on select issues. The denial contradicts reports that Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, had given the go-ahead for his elite Revolutionary Guards force to work with the United States and other countries in battling the Islamic State.
Christians in the Middle East are becoming increasingly concerned for their safety as the region plunges deeper into violence and chaos. For several months, Lebanese Christians have watched with dread as other Christians flee Islamic extremists in Syria and Iraq, all the while wondering if they will be next. Their fears multiplied last month when Islamist gunmen from Syria overran a border town, killing and kidnapping Lebanese soldiers. This after a church in the north of the country was recently spray-painted with the words, "The Islamic State is coming." Lebanese Christians are now creating self-defense units and taking up weapons to protect themselves as they see more and more of their co-religionists in neighboring countries face death and destruction from radical Islamists.
Mehdi Namouche, the French national accused of murdering 4 people when he shot up the Jewish Museum in Brussels in May, had plotted to carry out a massive attack in Paris during Bastille Day celebrations on July 14th. Information about the plan came from French journalist Nicolas Hennon, who was recently freed from captivity in Syria. Hennon said Namouche was a fighter for the ISIS terror group and also worked as a sadistic jailer, torturing prisoners. The French reporter said Namouche boasted how he had raped and murdered a young mother before beheading her baby. He also had wanted to stage a large attack in the heart of Paris during the French national holiday. However, the French Interior Ministry said that there is no evidence that Namouche was planning an attack in Paris. His victims in Brussels included an Israeli couple, a French woman, and an employee of the museum.
Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas is on the verge of canceling the reconciliation agreement with Hamas. The PA boss said the unity deal will become null and void if the Islamist terror organization does not allow the Palestinian government to operate properly in the Gaza Strip. The reconciliation accord, signed in April, sought to end years of bitter and sometimes bloody clashes between Hamas and its Fatah rival, which dominates the Palestinian Authority based in the West Bank. Abbas threatened to end the partnership with Hamas if the terror group continues to run what he called a shadow government in the Gaza Strip, that obstructs the Palestinian Authority government from doing anything on the ground.
With the Gaza conflict still fresh in the hearts and minds of Israelis, word comes now that the Israeli Defense Forces are making plans and training for a very violent war against the Hezbollah terrorist organization in southern Lebanon. The dire prediction came from a top army commander deployed along Israel's northern border with Lebanon. Colonel Dan Goldfuss told Israel Television's Channel 2 that such a conflict will be entirely different from the recent Hamas war in Gaza. It's believed that Hezbollah has 100,000 rockets, 10 times more than the Hamas arsenal, including 5,000 long-range missiles located deep inside Lebanon and capable of carrying warheads of 1 ton with precision guidance systems that can strike anywhere in Israel. Colonel Goldfuss said that the Iron Dome missile defense system, which performed superbly during Operation Protective Edge, would not be able to cope with that kind of challenge. He stressed that the IDF will have to use considerable force and act more decisively and drastically to defeat the Iranian-backed terrorist group Hezbollah.
Israel's military might just got a lot more powerful. The first of 3 German-made Dolphin II class submarines is on its way to Israel. This will be Israel's 4th S-class sub and will be called the INS Tanin, Hebrew for crocodile. The new Dolphin is the world's most advanced submarine. It can dive deeper and further and for a longer period of time. A 5th submarine will be added to the Israeli fleet next year, and a 6th sub is slated for delivery in 2019. The German weekly Der Spiegel reported that the submarines have a nuclear capability and are part of Israel's arsenal to counter the Iranian nuclear threat.
For the first time, France has become the leading country for Jewish immigration to Israel. As of August 31st, 4,566 Jews left France for Israel. That figure topped Ukraine, which saw 3,252 Jews immigrate. Russia had 2,632, and the United States was 4th, with 2,218. The Jewish Agency expects by year's end there will be some 6,000 departures from France. Officials said the growing climate of anti-Semitism was the main factor. The economy was another issue, with record high unemployment and zero growth in France.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had words of praise for the International Christian Embassy, Jerusalem. Netanyahu said the ICEJ has been a source of strength and encouragement for the citizens of Israel and the soldiers defending them. The ICEJ was instrumental in raising funds and sponsoring activities for rocket-battered residents of southern Israel during the recent Hamas war of terror. They sent food and clothing to IDF soldiers and provided 9 bomb shelters for Israeli communities near the Gaza border. They also organized public diplomacy campaigns for Israel overseas and held pro-Israel rallies in a number of foreign countries. Dr. Jürgen Buehler, the executive director of the Christian Embassy, said the ICEJ is proud to stand with Israel, especially at a time like this.
The deadly Ebola virus continues to spread unchecked across West Africa. And to make matters worse, the U.S. company which produces the experimental vaccine ZMapp said its supply of the drug has been exhausted. Now, the Israeli biopharmaceutical company Protalix said it has the resources to manufacture the vaccine in large quantities and in a short period of time. The Israeli company said it has become highly proficient in the genetic engineering of tobacco plants from which the medication is drawn. The facilities located in northern Israel are more advanced and better equipped than greenhouses in the U.S., where production of the ZMapp drug takes place. Officials at Protalix said they are ready to help when and if the American company requests assistance. Ebola has killed more than 1,500 people this year, and the World Health Organization said there could be as many as 20,000 cases before the outbreak is brought under control.
Jerusalem and Amman have signed a memorandum of understanding in which Israel agrees to supply the Hashemite kingdom with $15 billion of natural gas over the next 15 years. The deal, which is the largest ever collaboration with Jordan, was welcomed by Israel's Energy and Water Minister, Silvan Shalom, who described the agreement as a historic act that will strengthen the economic and diplomatic ties between the two countries. Shalom said Israel is becoming an energy superpower and will be able to help meet the energy needs of its neighbors. The Leviathan gas reservoir, which is estimated to hold 22 trillion cubic feet of gas, is controlled by Noble Energy and the Delek Group.
Former Israeli President Shimon Peres traveled to Vatican City for a sit-down with Pope Francis. During the 45-minute meeting, which was described as very cordial, Peres proposed an organization of united religions, a sort of UN of religions to fight terrorism. Peres said it would be the best way to combat terrorists who kill in the name of their faith. He said the Arab world now recognizes the growing threat of terror from groups like the Islamic State and Islamic Jihad. Peres suggested to the pontiff that the Arab world join with Israel, the United States and the European Union in a united front against terror in which religious leaders, led by the Pope, would play a pivotal role. That concludes the news portion of our show. Stay tuned for Ask the Source with Josh Reinstein.
Hello and welcome to Ask the Source. I'm your host Josh Reinstein, and we're here on a beautiful day in Jerusalem on our rooftop studio. My guest today is Father Gabriel Nadaf. Father Nadaf, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Father Nadaf, you're very well known in Israel. You're a leader of the Christian community. Please tell our viewers a little bit about yourself.
I am Father Gabriel Nadaf, a Greek Orthodox priest. I was born in the city of Nazareth, the Annunciation city of the north of Israel, whose that Jesus Christ grew up. I am a leader of the local Christian community.
You're doing landmark work here in Israel with the Israeli local Christian community. Tell us about your organization.
Okay, the name of my organization, this is the Israeli Christian Recruitment Forum, established in 2012. My goal of this organization to integrate my community, the Israeli Christian, in the Israeli society.
Father Nadaf, you always call the local Christian community here Israeli Christians, never Arab Christians, which is what people call them all over the world. They call them the Arab Christian community in Israel, but you call them the Israeli Christians. Why?
Because the local Christian here in Israel has been before 2,000 years, before the Arabs coming here in this land. And that Jesus Christ speaking Hebrew and not speak Arabic.
Father Nadaf, you've gone all over the world and here in Israel and called on local Israeli Christians here in the state of Israel to stand with the state of Israel. Why is that so important for Christians in Israel to stand with Israel?
Okay, I believe that the Christian should protect Israel, because our roots from here in the Israel is that Holy Land about the Christian and the Jews, and we have to protect in Israel.
Father Nadaf, you went on record and said that not only should Israeli Christians support Israel, but you've called on Christians all over the world to stand with this nation of Israel. Why is it important for all Christians to stand with Israel?
Of course, because the Christians of all the world believe in the Holy Bible, in the New Testament and the Tanakh. And if the Christian believe in the Bible, he have to stand with Israel.
Most recently, Father Nadaf, during the Operation Protective Edge, you've come out and you've been in very strong support of the state of Israel. There's been a lot of international condemnation on Israel that's just fighting a defensive war against terrorists, recognized terrorists. Why was it so important for you to come out and defend the state of Israel?
Israel is fighting terror now. This is a war with Islamic terrors, with Jews and Christians. And because this, the Christians, we have stand with Israel, who support the Christian in Israel.
Father Nadav, there are literally tens of millions of people watching this show. What message do you have for our viewing audience?
Israel, this is the only state with support a Christian in the Middle East. The Christian living here with democracy and peace and security. We need about the Christian in the world to support Israel, to be strong, and I want to help my organization to work in this goal, the integrate Christian with the society in Israel.
Thank you, Father Nadav, for being on the show, and thank you for tuning in to Ask the Source. I'm your host, Josh Reinstein. Now back to the studio.
This is Jerusalem, Israel's capital city. It's an ancient and modern treasure that is beyond belief. There's a little bit of Israel in all of us. Come find the Israel in you.
Up next, shining light from Israel.
Why are so many people with so many different perspectives, from the Prime Minister of Israel to the King of Saudi Arabia, so worried that Iran might build a deliverable nuclear weapon? Or, to put it even more simply, why do we have to stop Iran from getting the bomb? The reason is painfully obvious. They might actually use it. France has nuclear weapons. So does the United Kingdom. But nobody worries that they will use them. It's not nuclear weapons that are the problem. It's who has them and what they might do with them. We do not worship Iran, we worship Allah, said Iranian leader Ayatollah Khomeini in 1980. I say, let this land burn. I say, let this land go up in smoke, provided Islam remains triumphant in the rest of the world. A militant nation that does not fear its own destruction is a sure threat to its enemies. And that threat is taken to a whole new level if the militant nation arms itself with nuclear weapons. Who are the enemies of the Islamic Republic of Iran? There are three. The first enemy of Iran is the United States of America. A common slogan chanted by Iranians at public rallies is "Death to America." But it's not just a slogan. Iran has been committing actual acts of war against what it calls the Great Satan for over 3 decades. There was Iran's seizure of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran in 1979, the 1983 bombing of the Marine barracks in Beirut that killed 241 American servicemen, and the 1996 Khobar Towers bombing in Saudi Arabia that killed another 19 Americans. Not to mention the war in Iraq, during which Iran did little to disguise the fact that it supplied anti-American militias with sophisticated, armor-piercing munitions responsible for the maiming and death of hundreds of U.S. soldiers. A nuclear Iran could greatly expand its efforts to harm American interests, secure in the knowledge that its possession of nuclear weapons would make any military retaliation extremely unlikely. And over time, and not much time, a nuclear Iran could develop the sort of intercontinental ballistic missiles that would bring American and European cities within range of its weapons. A second enemy of Iran, which is a Shiite Muslim nation, are the Sunni Muslim nations of the Middle East. An Iranian bomb would instantly spark a nuclear arms race in the region as Arab states, nearly all of which have majority Sunni populations, move to defend themselves against aggression from Iran. As these regimes and dictatorships race to become nuclear powers, the chances that nuclear weapons might be used, either directly or through terrorist proxies, grow exponentially. And the third and ultimate enemy of Iran is Israel. Only around 1,000 miles separate the Islamic Republic from the Jewish state. Iranian leaders have called Israel a rabid dog, a cancerous tumor that needs to be cut away, and have called publicly and repeatedly for Israel's annihilation. They wage a continuous terrorist war against Israel through their proxies, Hezbollah and Hamas. Former Iranian President Akbar Hashemi Rafsanjani, a man often described as a moderate and a pragmatist in the Western press, articulated the Iranian position this way. If one day the Islamic world is also equipped with weapons like those that Israel possesses now, then the imperialist strategy will reach a standstill because the use of even one nuclear bomb inside Israel will destroy everything. However, one bomb will only harm the Islamic world. He's right. That's why the civilized and sensible leaders of the world cannot allow Iran to develop nuclear weapons. Because once the Iranians do, they will pose a severe threat to the security of America and Europe, spark a regional arms race that could see the world's worst players acquire the world's worst weapons, and threaten the Jews with extermination for the second time in a century. Or, to put it more simply, Iran cannot be allowed to get the bomb because they might actually use it.
Anywhere else, this would be a vacation by a lake. But this is the Sea of Galilee. The wonders of Israel are beyond belief. There's a little bit of Israel in all of us. Come find the Israel in you.
Please stay tuned for the ICEJ report from the International Christian Embassy, Jerusalem.
We are here in Haifa at the International Christian Embassy's home for Holocaust survivors. And let me tell you, this house here in Haifa is one of the most exciting projects which the Christian Embassy has undertaken over the past couple of years.
The ICEJ's home for Holocaust survivors consists of 9 buildings in one Haifa neighborhood. This small community serves as a haven of love and security for more than 70 elderly Israelis who survived the Nazi campaign of genocide. Thanks to the consistent giving of Christians just like you, we are able to provide these precious survivors with everything they need. The facilities currently include a synagogue, a medical and dental clinic, and an intensive care wing.
During the 65 years of the existence of the State of Israel, this is the best thing that Christians and Jews have done together. It's beautiful. It's all about this mutual giving and serving. Christians and Jews together. The media loves this. They appreciate the social solidarity that the Christians express towards the Jewish people, and of course towards Holocaust survivors, who right now are in the last decades of their lives. So we need to appreciate them now.
We invite you to partner with us in this important work in Haifa by making a donation today. Your donation will assist us with providing for the day-to-day operational costs at the home. Roughly $1,250 per month per person is what it costs to provide for the basic needs of the residents. Your giving will make a significant difference in the lives of these beautiful people, so please consider how you can financially support us in this important project.
Our goal is to have 150 survivors residing here, maybe even 200 Holocaust survivors. In this very moment, there are more than 1,000 survivors who have registered. I hope that the assistance of the Christian Embassy will be able to give everything we can to these people.
We go outside to eat in the restaurants, we go to the sea. We go to the theater, yes, lectures from the outside. And the food is still good. It is all excellent. Here I have friends, and I'm feeling here good. I am happy here, no?
If you have been supporting our project in the past, I want to personally thank you, because through your help we could host more than 70 Holocaust survivors in our home in Haifa. And as you well understand, once the house was completed, we are still challenged with ongoing running cost of this center in Haifa. And I want to encourage you to please consider to help us with the ongoing cost, but also with the cost to expand that center even more. You need to know that this home in Haifa has an incredible impact in Israel and also in the city of Haifa. Countless dignitaries came to visit us in this center. The media were reporting about what Christians are doing to support Holocaust survivors in the land of Israel. So your donation is not just impacting the survivors, but it actually touches the entire nation of Israel. You need to know that the vision of the International Christian Embassy in Israel is to show another face of Jesus and of the church to the Jewish people. And this is exactly what our home in Haifa is accomplishing. And I want to invite you again to partner with us. We are your outstretched arms and your feet here in the land. We are your embassy here in Jerusalem. May the Lord bless you richly out of Zion.
That's all for this edition of Israel Now News. I'm Yochanan El-Rom.
And I'm Rebecca Rand, reporting from our studio in Jerusalem. Please join us next week for all of your Israel updates.